have a very special guest, Katrina. She is just this amazing person who I actually recently met. And the reason I connected with Katrina is she has this message called Love Yourself to Success. And I know that this really is the core of who we are, is this love. And having it so intact and at a very core, deep place within us will guide us and lead us to greater success. So I wanted Katrina Sawa, I always say her name wrong, so that's why I avoided it at first. It's Katrina Sawa to come and talk to us about how she was able to develop this process and how she works with her clients and students all over the world, and just really what she comes with. You know, she comes bearing so many gifts. So Katrina, if you could just introduce yourself a little bit, tell us about your background and your story of how you got on the intuitive path.
Right, thank you, Abby. It's fun to be here, and and it's an interesting topic. I always talk about love and money. I don't always talk about intuition and having faith in stuff in your business. It's funny, it wasn't until about 2009 that I realized I had a lot of faith in myself my whole life. I just grew up with it. It was just kind of ingrained in me to not even think differently. So I always thought it's going to work itself out, money will always come, something will always happen, to make it work out. And I never had big doubts about, oh my God, what if? Oh my God, if something tragically happens. I was never that scared. Some people think like they're going to lose their house and they're this, and sometimes it's true, it comes true, but I never thought like that. I thought, well, somebody will help me out, or I can go here, or I can do this, or I can do that, and I always just had that positive attitude. And but in business, I've been in business for about 12 years now, and when I first started, I just kept going. I knew this was what I was meant to do. I started out locally in the local Sacramento, California area, local marketing consultant. I came from the advertising world, so I used to sell advertising at our local paper and was always talking to the small business owner locally. I'd go door to door and meet retail people as well as solopreneurs and home-based business owners. And there was always so many things they were doing wrong in their business that weren't getting them the success they wanted. They didn't do enough marketing. They didn't have a website. They didn't get out of their business to go networking or meet new people. So it was just, I just kept going and kept going. I knew that I was meant to serve these people in a way that was not just about the marketing and helping them build the business, but in a bigger way. So it took a while to really develop the Love Yourself Successful stuff. As you know, our lives are always a journey. I had to go through a divorce and many years of horrible online dating to not only find the love of my life, who I'm with now, 2 years almost, but I learned a lot about myself along the way in that dating process. And it was funny, it was the dating process that actually made me start loving myself more and learning how to interact with people in that way in order to know that to focus on the personal life of my business rather than my business was going to actually help me make more money. Mm-hmm. So I talk a lot about, if you're not happy in your personal life, or you're single and you're looking for a man, don't just put dating on hold while you build your business, and don't just put your marriage aside if you're not happy there and just hide your head in the sand and go build your business, because you won't be able to build your business as successfully as you want to without having complete happiness over on the personal side, in my mind. So I found that along for myself, and then I looked at my clients and I'm like, oh my God, my clients are going through the same thing. I didn't realize. So that's why I dive now more into the personal lives and the love side of it. If they love themselves, if they have supportive significant others, if they have a true support system and family and friends, that as an entrepreneur, we need that. We need to be motivated and lifted up, not torn down and said you can't do this. So otherwise, we won't get anywhere. So that's kind of like the hodgepodge journey that I've had in the last few years as an entrepreneur. Yeah, and I bring it all together and help people grow their business and create happier lives for themselves.
Yeah, I think that's so true, Katrina. It's like, we can't have one without the other, because we are created in our wholeness. If we pinch off one part of our life and just kind of stuff it or put it aside, it still affects the greater whole. And so I love that you really, give people permission and probably the courage to move into those places within themselves that they may not have loved before, so they can really embrace the wholeness of their life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really great. Very cool. So for our listeners, do you have any suggestions of how they can do that? Because, the center point of intuition is this energy of unconditional love. So as we find that place within ourselves, absolutely, success follows, right, of whatever degree we're willing to receive and in whatever area we need to for our greater growth. So how would you recommend to our listeners that they and we, I'm always learning as well, can love ourselves deeper, and how can we apply what you're teaching your clients in this moment right now? Do you have a process or a technique that you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, there's an exercise that I do that I share a little bit about in my book, and then I have on a teleseries that goes with my book. But before we dive into that, what I would suggest is that you need to become aware. You need to become aware of the thoughts you do have that could be negative or not helpful as an entrepreneur, whether they're, you're looking at yourself after the shower and you're saying, oh, I look fat, that's not helpful. That's not loving yourself successful. And I know it's hard if you happen to be overweight and to not think that way, but just start saying, the right person's going to love me the way I am, and that's the way it is. Unless you really want to do something about it, then do something about it. But don't say you're going to do something about it if you don't want to do something about it. Just love the way you are. So that's just one thing, is be aware of the thoughts you have, the things you're saying to yourself and out loud first. And then the second thing to do is the exercise that I talk about is really developing your needs. So figuring out what you really need. And it's not an easy process, and we can't do it completely right now because there's so much to cover, but it's looking at yourself first, right? A lot of us are moms, or we're partners, or we have other responsibilities, and we put all those things first before ourselves. So when I went through this exercise in a relationship workshop when I was trying to prepare myself for online dating, right, and to prepare myself for the new love of my life, the next chapter, and I learned I had to be different. I was too, tell it like it is, and in the dating world, that's not good. I was too masculine, not feminine. I mean, I wore dresses and stuff like that, but it's a feminine attitude, right? And so what I learned was that I had to dive into what made me tick, what made me happy, and the needs that I needed to fulfill every single day, week, month, whatever they were. And it's love. They're basically values, that you have, and we forget about our deep core values. And mine were our love, faith, happiness, and passion. Love, faith, happiness, and passion. Nothing to do with money or abundance or wealth or anything like that, but it was all the touchy-feely stuff. I'm a very touchy-feely person when it comes to relationships, and what I really needed was affection and attention, right? And so when I didn't have a love in my life, I was like, well, how am I going to fill my tank of love every day? And so I had to come up with ways to fill that need so I didn't have this huge hole in my heart, which I felt like I had a hole in my heart. And that was not helping me grow my business because it was just weighing me down with this lack of love in my life. So I had to figure out how else to get love. So I found, being around some of my friends' kids were great, and they totally love you. Kids love you unconditionally. And pets, at the time, my dog was awesome. Thank God for my dog. Oh, my God, I would not have lasted through dating without my big 100-pound German Shepherd. And the poor, I have to tell you, I told my dog he had to stick around until I found the right man, and he died 2 weeks after I met the man I'm with. Wow. And it was so sad. Wow. He's like, oh, great, you found him. Oh, I'm done. He's like, thank God you found him, because
wow.
That was really sad. But you got to know your own needs, I needed to be around laughter and joy and happiness and playfulness and people that were in loving relationships So watch your surroundings, you know. You know, for me, I couldn't be around a couple that would bicker a lot. It's like, why would I want to be around that? So I just didn't talk to those people anymore. So, you know, that's what I needed. So you got to dive deep and do some really deep thinking and some work on what it is you need, what tanks you need to fill. One other thing that makes me happy sometimes is gardening, right? So I made a point to make sure I got out in the garden at least once a month. And I was ignoring that because I was trying to build the business. And so my garden was like all over the place. I had a landscaper, thank God, who would mow and blow. But it was the little things like trimming the roses or having a garden or some tomatoes or something, you know, that made me happy. So figure out what makes you happy, what fills your tanks every day, and what tanks do you need to fill. So it's hard to explain, but I have a whole process I take you through, and it's just, you got to pay attention to this stuff. You can't just hide it away until you go make $100,000 and then go pay attention, because you probably won't make $100,000 until you pay attention. So.
It's such wise advice. I'm actually a teacher of NLP, and it's called neuro-linguistic programming, which works with the emotions. So like that we're basically motivated by vibration and by energy. So it makes sense to me that you would ask us, you know, what are the emotions, what are the qualities, the values that you feel, because that feeling will start to bring in whether it's the money or the relationship or whatever it is you're looking for, and your intuition can guide you on that path. But until you're clear, it's not as easy. It's so much easier when you're clear, you know? So what I'm taking away from what you just said is to think about, you know, what does it take to fill your love tank? And what are maybe 3 or 4 words that describe your needs? What do you need in a relationship, maybe even with yourself and in another, right? For me, if I'm looking for a relationship, I know I probably have to be that too, right? Would you agree with that?
Yeah, if you're looking for love and you're looking for specifics in a relationship and a man, you need to be that. You need to be that person that person is looking for. And I wasn't being the person that my ideal person was looking for at the time. I had to shift. I had to make some shifts. But not everyone has a love tank they need to fill. Not everybody feels love. Some people's words are more like joy or, gosh, I can't even think. I think when I started that exercise, I had a list of 200 values or keywords. I mean, seriously, you have to just jot down everything you like, you love, that you value, characteristics, when you're thinking about yourself and your tanks. Everything you think you need, you know, self-care or just like you say, money, wealth, income, any word that makes sense, and then you just kind of have to go in order of importance and what rises to the top. Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you, Katrina. I really appreciate your generosity in sharing that. I know that's something really important to you. And at the end of the call, we're going to ask where they can find out more about you. We just want to get to know about you even more. So thank you. So appreciate it. So my next question for you is, how has intuition played a role in your life, Katrina?
Well, I never used to consider it intuition until I wrote the book, and I started really looking at all this stuff, and I realized, oh, I guess I am. It's funny, I met with a psychic probably about 5 years ago, and I'm not the type of person that would normally meet with a psychic. I'm the practical. I came from families who are mathematicians, they're PhDs, they're the analytical, you know, educational type people, and I was never brought up around anybody that was a healer or spiritual or whatever, not even really religious. And so when I finally started diving into myself, and people kept telling me, well, you just need to sit and be with yourself and just be, and I'm like, just tell me what to do. I don't need to be. Just tell me what to do, right? I'm a doer, not a beer. And that was my big thing. For a whole year, I was like frustrated in my mastermind that I was in. They were all telling me to just be. And I'm like, I need to make more money. Tell me what to do. They were, this is like so, I was just the horrible client. I was like, no, just tell me what to do. And they're like, just be. And I'm like, ugh.
I get it.
Which I wasn't getting anywhere. But anyways, but that was the year I really learned how to be. And I went to this psychic, and she said, oh my God, you were like so spiritual. And I'm like, I am? And she's like, yeah, because they were talking about meditation and all this stuff, and I'm like, I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time to sit around for 20 minutes and go, my brain goes off into my list of things to do. And I fall asleep. I either fall asleep if I'm listening to music, or my brain goes off in my list of things to do. Right? And the psychic said, oh no, you only need like 90 seconds of meditation because you are so in tune with your spiritualness, and you're so grounded when you get in with it. And I'm like, really? I had no idea. And so I started trying it. I'm like, 90 seconds. Okay, I can do 90 seconds. You know, and I would just start really honing in that way, and that's when I really started listening to my intuition. I'd always kind of made decisions on my gut, what I called my gut, you know, was making the decisions, but it's an intuition, right? Mm-hmm. So now I'm just really pay attention to them. When I first started my business and started hiring coaches and going to some workshops, I think it was an inner excitement and a bright, shiny object syndrome rather than an intuition and a gut feeling that I went and did some things. But now I'm really clear on what I know I need and what my next steps are and what kind of support I need. And so I do make better decisions now. And it's not always easy when you're just starting out, like how to make those decisions. And we like to think we're making them from the gut or our intuition and instincts, but sometimes, I don't know. But anyways, that's how I've kind of tapped into it haphazardly over the years.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point, Katrina. You know, when we make our decisions, sometimes we're not even aware of them. And we, like you say, the bright, shiny object, it's, you know, we see something we want, and people can be really good at even marketing everything, you know, and our ego or our conscious mind wants it. Right. But really start to feel into our hearts and connect with our gut feeling. That's actually the way I teach people to do it as well, is to feel it in your gut. Like it's an instinctual knowing. We all have it, and it's just a matter of listening. Yeah. And it's like I was just telling somebody the other day, like sometimes the truth hurts. Like sometimes we want it to be a different answer, but we know the truth. Like we know that we know, and to really trust that regardless of what you think you want to hear, trust that the truth will get you there wherever it is that you want to go, even if it's not the way your mind thinks, you know?
Yeah.
And I know we've all been there, you know?
I agree.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I think you learn, you know, you live and learn, and it's just part of the process, you know, like you say.
It takes really time to develop, I think, your intuition, too. I know intuitive coaches that's really what they do, is they hone in, and I don't know if that's what you do, too, but, you know, there's people that can help you hone your intuition. But,
absolutely, yeah. It's
so important.
People, it's really the most natural thing you can do, but you're really unlearning, you know, all these conditioned responses, because your intuition puts you in alignment with your source. It's very natural, but we actually have to release the conditioning that we've been taught that takes us away from that. So yeah, it is a process, absolutely. So Katrina, what miracles have you seen happen in your business when you followed your intuition? Have you seen some significant increases of income, or, you know, people that you've worked with, you know, because you followed your intuition have a certain result or a feeling? Can you just tell me about some experiences like that?
Yeah, so the year that I was frustrated with the mastermind that I was in and paying lots and lots of money to a coach to help me, but I was refusing to do what they were doing. Basically, I cried all year long. I didn't do really anything different in my business or my marketing, because it was already a little bit on autopilot, but I could have done more. But that was the year that I hit 6 figures. The year that I really just was torturing myself and working through that whole process was the year that I hit 6 figures on my business. And I'd been trying and beating my head up against the wall for like 3 years before that. So it was the year that I finally released and let go and did all the work on myself and dove in deep and started loving myself and really listening and being more, right? And that's the year I hit 6 figures. I also found who I thought was the love of my life at the time, so I was really happy, but it didn't turn out to be the right guy. But anyways, it filled the hole in my heart for the time being.
You're awesome.
That's one thing that I know, because I worked on that. The second thing is, it comes up actually all the time in my coaching when I'm working with clients and we're developing new programs or products or even their own services and what to charge. The price always comes to me of what they should charge, and whether it's a $97, a $497, or a $2,000 thing, I usually am right on target with that ideal price that they should be launching with, and it usually works pretty well. So pricing is not an easy thing to do, and sometimes you look at your competition. I know what's going on in the world, so I kind of just get a feel for it, but I have these things that come to me. It's like, well, I have to tell this person this thing, or I have to, or this is the price, or this is the day to launch it. Although something new that I'm actually going to look into is the astrological alignment of everything and when to do certain things and when not to do certain things. I haven't made any decisions based on that before, and I'm fascinated by it, and so I'm going to start looking into that. I don't know. That's a side note.
No. You're working with spiritual energy, so it's not so much mental, and so that's the whole idea of intuition, and even looking at astrology is you're channeling the energetics, the metaphysics,
right?
And so it's coming from a much higher place, and that's really the goal that we all have, right? And it usually comes down to trusting it too. A lot of people will get it, but then they kind of slough it off as, intuitive guidance. I'm like, dude, intuitive guidance is the most practical thing you could do, so it's just really trusting yourself,
Yes,
it really is.
Until I really tap into that, I'm telling my astrologer friends and clients, don't tell me if this is a bad time to launch yet. I'm not ready, because I don't want to know that. If I already had something on the calendar, sometimes they'll come to me and it's like, well, if you, and I'm like, I'm not moving anything, don't tell me, I don't want to know, blah, 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 blah.
Absolutely. I understand. Information overload. Very cool. So, Katrina, how has following your intuition helped you grow your income in your business?
Well, like I said, it's the reason I got to the first 6 figures is because I finally tapped into myself and really listened to myself, and was not just about the personal stuff, but the business too. I let go of a lot of the traditional thinking. So that's one thing. And then another thing is just, I know that there's no going back. Like, I don't ever see myself going under 100,000 again. It's always going to be over. So it's just the knowing, I guess. It's the constant knowing of, I don't have doubts about that. And so just trusting. I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, you're right on. I mean, it's the knowing, and once you've tapped into the knowing, like, the doubts do start to fade, and so you reach that place of security within yourself. And I love what you said about listening to yourself, because that really is such a key component of following your intuition is, gently and compassionately and just really intently listening to yourself and hearing what those needs are, noticing what you're feeling, that your feelings are your emotions guiding you to what it is that you say you want, and your intuition is that direct link with your higher power. So really honoring your gut feeling and taking action on that, from that loving place.
And speaking of action, so a couple things too that I do when for example, I'm all about systems, and so I see things in systems. And so if you're hosting a teleclass or a webinar, I can intuitively tell my clients, okay, if you're going to have the webinar here, we need to send an email here, here, and here. We need to follow up with them here, here, and here, and this is what these need to say. And so intuitively, I kind of know when to do what. That makes sense? It's not a guessing. It's just more of a matter-of-fact knowing that comes in and just says, okay, this is the plan. And it's easier for me, and I can do it for other people. I do it for myself. Not a lot of people can do that, and so very easily, and they just guess or don't do enough. And so I don't know. That's part of it too. I think that I see those things.
Yeah, it absolutely is that knowing, and then when you follow it, you just know, and you don't even know where it's coming from, and it starts to unfold. It's like, I mean, that's what I do in my private practice. I don't know if you've listen to my story at all, but I started when I was 19 years old because I just felt the connection and I didn't think. And so that's really, I feel, sometimes our most effective place if we're really centered, that we literally are channeling that information. And
Mm-hmm.
people's brains are wired differently. I mean, you probably have a very high level of intelligence around marketing, so it comes through easily in that area. For someone else, it may come easily in a different area because that's where more of their gifts lie. So
Yeah.
just to be aware of what are your gifts and then how can you channel your intuition through that.
Right.
Yeah.
So making sure that yeah, I don't like question myself often.
Mhm.
So that leads me to taking more decisive action, getting more things done and more things launched and making more money in the result of reaching more people and getting more done. We'll end up making more money if you're doing all the right things. So a lot of people will stop themselves and question, well, is that the right thing to do or should I do this? Or they'll plan too long and they won't
Mhm.
launch. And so I
Mhm.
think it's that knowing what to do and then just doing it. And even if you have to course correct along the way, you're still doing something.
Right.
So that leads you to better income in my mind.
Right. Yeah, taking action and just putting the energy in motion. Absolutely. It just gets it going. It's like the momentum, for sure. So as you've created this momentum in your business, and I know you've made a lot of income by following your intuition, what is the impact you feel, the positive impact, because you've made more income, that you've been able to help the world even more? Because sometimes I feel like people, we talked about this, during another interview, that people can have negative beliefs, but moving beyond that, like, what would you say to that question?
Well, I think the more money you make, the more people you can impact.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times people are like, well, I don't need to make that much money, or I don't need to make, anymore. I'm okay with just this. And stop it, because those modest people are the ones that are going to change the world. And so those people need to make a lot of money so that they can make more change.
Mm-hmm.
And so I say, make as much as humanly possible, not killing yourself in the process, but have systems for stuff and delegate. So it's the more money you make, the more you can reach, the more people you can hire and help that way, but also the more people you hire, the more people you can then reach even farther, right? Because of extra hands. It's not just you trying to do it all. And as far as as long as you have a good message and good content, I mean, I like to provide access. My whole thing is about access. And I've had coaches and mentors and been in programs where there wasn't really any access to that person that you think you're getting. You get some virtual support or some recordings and things like that, but to me, the kinds of clients that I like to help, the ones that really need to know what to do, how to do it, what to say, they need access. They don't just need someone listening, telling them on a teleclass what to do. They need specifically for their business. So I like to be able to provide access. If I was still struggling for cash under 100,000 at some point, I probably wouldn't be able to give that much access. So the more money I can make, the more access I can give. Like my mastermind program, that's an annual program, it's unlimited access to me anytime you want. You can call me anytime you want for a very reasonable price. But it's not a lot of people do that. I know one other person that does that because they want to limit their time with people. It's like, well, people need your help. That's why they're paying you. That's why they're coming to you. So I'm just all about access. And
Yeah.
I want to be able to do that. So, yeah, I need to make more money so I can give more people more access.
Yeah, I really love that. I think it's so funny. I was talking to actually my coach about it, and she's like, just pick up the phone. Like, people want to talk to you, and there's such this stigma about, I'm too good to answer. I mean, it's so ridiculous. It's like we're all human. We're all here to help each other. So I love that realness. It's like, you've hired me to help you. I'm here for you. I'm here to take you through each step.
I yell at my clients when they don't call me. It's like, hey, I text them, why aren't you calling me?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Katrina, I'm wondering, and this might be too broad of a question, but is there any advice or insight you have to give about the way you're setting up your systems or your structures? I just get the sense that it is something, I think we talked about this before, it's one of your strong suits, and I know a lot of people struggle with that. Is there anything that you feel could add value to our audience about setting that up, the structures and the system aspect of a business?
Yeah, okay, so something just came to me, and I'll share.
Yeah, your
It
intuition.
just came.
The intuitive download has come
I know,
through.
seriously, I had a download. Okay, so think about two different things and how you can maximize both your website, your web presence, and your database and your list building. Okay, so if you think in those two broad terms, you're looking at your web presence. What does your ideal prospect see when they come to a website, your website? Is it a home? Did you build it yourself, do they think? Is it have a place for them to go sign up and get more information? Is it very marketing friendly? Is it user friendly? Can they find stuff? Or are you confusing them with certain words that you're using? So really look at your web presence and look at all your presences online, whether it's on Facebook or Pinterest or YouTube or wherever. Make it make it all flow together. It needs to look similar. You need to have the same picture everywhere. Make sure that you have that position online that is presentable to the type of client you want, first of all. Now, there's systems in behind the website and things that you definitely want to have, like opt-in boxes, thank you pages, autoresponders. You have to have those things in order to be more of a smooth running machine. If you don't, you want to reach out and get some help with that. Don't try to take a class on WordPress. That would waste all your time. Don't do that. Go do your genius and hire someone to help you with that. Okay? Get a strategist, someone like me or someone else similar, and then you can plug and play with any web developer or any virtual assistant after you get the strategy and what you're going to do in place. Looking at your database, you got to get them in the computer of some sort. You don't have to pay for huge expensive software. If you're selling stuff online, though, you do need a shopping cart on your website, which correlates to being on your database, right? So everybody's in one place. So figure out how to get them in one place. A lot of times I talk with clients and they've got stacks of business cards sitting on their desk. Okay, I just came back from an event, so these are on my desk because I'm doing follow-up phone calls. But if you have things that are not in the computer, they need to get in the computer so that you can follow up with them. And I'm huge on follow-up systems when you go networking, or if you're speaking at an event, or if you're being an exhibitor at an event, or even if you meet people on social media, you've got to be able to have some kind of funnel to put them into. Funnel in an email marketing system, funnel into phone calls possibly to talk to you. So many different things to set up over there. But look at the people, because those are your low-hanging fruit. So talk to your people more and get more people to talk to, so with lead generation, and then have really easy, clear systems online. And that's probably the best I could do in the short amount of time as far as...
That's so helpful. Yeah. That's so helpful, Katrina. Thank you. That's so helpful. It's so simple, and it's stuff that everybody can do and start to put their focus in that area, right? So you've just given them the first step, and then, yes, they can call you and other people to help them create that, but that really is the next step. That's all we need, and that's really, really beautiful. Thank you very much. Very helpful. Very helpful. Yeah, for sure. So how do you uniquely share your work in the world, Katrina? I know that you've mentioned, like what you've been sharing with us, loving yourself to success and setting up these systems. How do you do this in your business? Like, what is your model, and how are you helping people in the world right now?
Well, ever since I wrote the book really is the core of my message. So I love for people to get that, first of all.
Tell us what that book is, Katrina.
It's loveyourselfsuccessful.com. Well, it's the website to get it, but Love Yourself Successful. It's the woman's step-by-step guide to finally taking charge of your life and designing the business of your dreams. So we look at toxic people, we look at relationships, we look at your own crap, and then we look at what we need to do to balance that out in your business. And it's a very people have. I've gotten so many good comments on this book. It's not even funny, whether you're in a relationship or not. But the book is probably the best me example. If someone is interested in working with me or something, that's a great place to start. If other than that, I kind of simplified this year. I've done almost every business model on the planet. I've done I have ebooks and home studies and audios and all that. I do webinars and teleclasses and guest appearances, and I'm a host on a radio show, and I have membership programs, and I have 6-week programs, 90-day programs. I have a 6-month one-on-one. I have an annual Live Big Mastermind. I have live events. I've done 1 day, 2 day, 3 days, and 4 day live events. I've done multi-speaker, and I say it so fast because it's kind of ridiculous, but I've done all of that, and I love it. And I kind of had to get my feet wet in all those different types of business models to see which ones I really, really love to do, which ones serve my clients the best, and also pay the price I need to, be compensated for. So this year I kept it simple. I got rid of all the little 6-week programs here and there, and it's just, one-on-one for 6 months, my annual mastermind, my live events in April and November, or go do it yourself with some of the products and the home study kits, like my speaker training or my 90-day program. So I'm keeping it simple. Because not only that, but like last year I had 2 hip replacement surgeries. In 2013, January and December, I had to get 2 total hip replacements at 42 and 43 years old. It's crazy. So I was down and out, and I wasn't down and out for that long, but it sets you back when you have stuff like that happen, and you don't plan for that, right? This year, my fiance is going through cancer right now and surgeries, and so you don't know what life's going to throw at you, and you need to be set up with systems and different business models that can run themselves when you're not there. If you're responsible to make every single dollar in your business and something happens and you can't be in your business, you're not making any dollars. Mm-hmm. So be careful how you set up your business and your marketing, and if you don't surround yourself with at least a little bit of a team or support to help you, and something happens to you or someone you love that you have to go help, who knows what's going to happen, Mm-hmm. So be prepared, be set up for everything in your business as soon as humanly possible. Don't wait. Well, in year 5 of my business, I'll go do all that stuff that you're saying, Katrina. Okay, well, what happens in year 4? You get hit by a bus, right? Like, come on. You don't know. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it really is about being prepared, and I love what you say about having a team. Just yesterday, I've had so much going on in my business, and I got a call from another person that I'm working with, and she's like, can you please have somebody from your team call us because we need this addressed right now? And it felt so good to be able to reach out to my team and say, hey, can you please handle this? I can't do this right now.
Yeah.
And as much as we'd like to think we can do it all, it's just not humanly possible for where we're all going, and the big visions that we have. We need each other for a reason, and we all have these unique gifts that intrinsically come together at this beautiful connection point, this synergy. And so to really start to open your heart to receive and to build that trust with team, it really does, it makes it so much easier and so much more fulfilling. And honestly, it makes you show up in a much more present way to wherever you need to be.
Yeah.
So.
Well, at my last event in April, I had more volunteers than I've ever had at my event. Plus, I had my event planner and my 2 virtual assistants there that were not virtual then. But I felt so supported. I didn't need to do anything. They were selling in the back table. They were handling the staff at the hotel. They were handling the food and all this stuff. And I just got to be on stage and deliver what I needed to deliver and keep the energy for the for the room. And it was a great feeling. It is a great feeling to be.
Yeah.
I just never realized it before. I was too busy doing. So. Yeah. It's fun to be balanced out now.
Isn't it fun just to be you? Yeah. It really is.
I'm like so much more animated now too, which I don't know, creates for more interesting, I guess, interview. But it's fun.
It is fun just to give yourself permission to be you and call in your team. It's such a great feeling. So in calling in, their team and their business and their next level of success, Katrina, I'd just really love to know how you have connected to your intuition, and so maybe they can learn from you. I know how I do it, but I always love to hear how other people do it, and then it relates to people in their own way. So how do you uniquely connect with your intuition in a way that you're led to all these experiences?
Okay, hopefully you're not going to laugh. I don't know. So I feel like I am most intuitive in the shower. Like like, it's really the only place that I have 90 seconds to do nothing but think of what I'm going to do that day, what I'm going to say on my video this week, who I need to connect with, what clients might need me right now, who do I feel needs me, who do I need to reach out to, what joint venture partners have I not talked to in a while comes to me, you know, plus the things that need to go on the shopping list will come to me too, and so I have to have paper. I need to find something that can stick in the shower where I can write on it and it won't be erased. I like seriously looked on Amazon one day. I can't find anything. So if anybody has a resource, fabulous.
I think you need to have like get a recorder that you can put in your bathroom. That
I don't have time to transcribe it or listen back. Are you kidding me? It needs to be now. I don't have time to do that. No, I thought about that. No, I need my little sticky. This is my sticky note from this morning shower right here. Where is it?
That's awesome. That's so great. I love that.
It was my brainstorm on what my video is going to be today about, and so
that's very cool.
The shower. Every once in a while, I can sit and meditate or listen to something, but it's every day in the shower I get my daily dose. That's it for me.
Your daily dose of shower intuition, huh? Well, definitely water cleanses your auric field, so I'm sure you're very clear when you receive the insights.
It works. I don't know. I get really super clear, boom, and get action-oriented and everything.
So I guess everybody take more showers.
One other thing, like when I'm sitting in live events, so sometimes I'll go to a workshop and the speaker might be saying something, and I don't always listen to the speakers unless there's, you know, I don't know. But sometimes I bring work that I'm working on or something, and this is where like it came to me to do my first live event and where my book download came from. It came in a live event listening to some random speaker, and all of a sudden things started coming in, and I was just taking copious notes about this other thing that I'm doing or creating, and nobody knows what's going on, and they take a break, and I'm sitting there taking notes, and so sometimes it comes in those situations. So when I'm around other entrepreneurs and that kind of a mindset, so it's cool, yeah.
Yeah, you know, I think what's happening there is just from a mind perspective, when our conscious mind has something to do that preoccupies it, it actually opens space for your unconscious mind and your higher conscious mind to process those higher level learnings. So it's not so much that you probably, you know, I'm sure you care about the speaker and everything going on. I just know energetically it creates that space for those ideas to come through.
Great way to describe it. I have no idea. So I'm just a student on the journey of intuitive learning.
Well, welcome. We all are. So, Katrina, what is the most valuable thing you can leave our audience with, and anything else you'd like to add?
Oh my goodness, that's a big giant question.
I know.
What is the most valuable thing I can leave your audience with? Please don't wait to start doing what you love. Don't settle for relationships that aren't serving you, and get the hell out of anything that's treating you bad. So, yeah, because life's too short.
I love that. That is so good. I love that. Like,
I don't know what I just said. Thank God you're recording.
Those are like 3 principles to live by. Like, can you say those one more time?
No, I don't know what I said now. Darn it. This is why I record everything. I just make it up as I go along.
That's all right. It's all recorded. It's all recorded. But I just think that's so valuable, you know, to really, you know, get out of anything that's, you know, not serving you, and don't wait to live big, you know, don't wait to live your dreams and really be who you are, and know the support is there for you.
It is. You have to know that and reach out for it. You can't just sit there and go, somebody's going to come and help me. I know it. Well, sometimes you might have to go say, hey, can you help me? Because they don't see you sitting there, right? So energetically.
Absolutely. And Katrina, I know you've offered so much and a great way to help people in this call today, this interview, and I would love to share the free gift that you have, and I've actually listened to your call. That's why I wanted to invite you on the show. And it's just incredible. So I literally see your hand right now reached out to these people, and I hope you all will take her hand and help, you know, her grow her business and you grow yours, because it's just such a beautiful connection. So where can they get the free gift from you, Katrina?
So we're sending them to the Love Yourself Successful site, and there's free gifts all over the place if you really look hard enough from me, because I have a couple different websites. But the book website really will get you in tune with the things we're talking about here, in my mind. Go to loveyourselfsuccessful.com/free gifts. It's plural, free gifts. And there'll be an audio. You can read the first 2 chapters of my book. And don't get thrown off by the first page, please. There's a cuss word on there. But just get beyond that.
It's all good. Gotta be.
But yeah, go get that. And there's videos there you can watch and really get to know more and dive into your own self. If you want to do those exercises that I was talking about, maybe you want to fix the relationship you have, or maybe you're dating, you might really want to go check out the teleseries I have on the book too. There's a ton of bonuses with it. It's like a no-brainer to buy it for like $97. But I mean, I'm not trying to sell it, but it's a great complement to the book and walks you through a lot of stuff. So
awesome! Wow. Well, that's so beautiful, Katrina. Thank you so much for sharing your insight today. And everyone, make sure to go to loveyourselfsuccessful.com and, man, practice what you preach. I just love that. It's just such a beautiful concept, and I hear it in the back of my mind often, you know, and I find that my life is getting sweeter and sweeter as I do. So thank you for blessing our lives today, Katrina, and we will see you next time. Take care, everyone.